Next on our list is riding gear. What kind of riding gear to bring with you for a tour? So let's get started. Of course, anytime you're riding, you're going to be wearing a helmet. Now there are 3 different kind of helmets that I recommend for doing a tour. The first kind is a 3/4 helmet, one that covers everything except for your face. Those are okay as long as they have a drop-down visor as well as a drop-down sun visor. Those are very important. But as long as it has a visor and a drop-down sun visor, a 3/4 helmet is okay. The other kind of helmet that's just fine is a full-face helmet, something that covers your whole head and your face as well. Those are really good. That gives you the maximum protection. And then the type that I use on tour, which is called a modular helmet. That's one where the front flips up. I love these because it's easy to flip it up. If I have to talk to someone, they can see my mouth, they can see my face, and it's easier to understand someone when you can see their face. Also, it makes it easier to take on and off, and it's easier to put your sunglasses or other glasses on because you can put the helmet on and then put them on. You don't have to try and wiggle them through the visor with a full face helmet. So these are what I recommend. I use the Schuberth C3 Pro. It's a great helmet. I've had it for a few years. I'm going to get another one. They're really good, but you don't have to. Get whatever is comfortable and works for you. Whatever one you have or may already have. That's fine. But bring a helmet. The one type of helmet that I do not recommend is a half helmet, one that only covers half of the head. You want something that offers more protection, and the problem with the half helmets is at interstate speeds, remember 65, 70, all the way up to 85, they're much more uncomfortable and pull your head back more because of that lip on the bottom. They're definitely going to lift up your head and pull it back. So they're much more uncomfortable. They don't offer enough protection, so I do not recommend those at all. So do not bring a half helmet. Get at least a 3/4 helmet all the way up to a full face or a full face modular helmet. Okay? That's really important. Next on the list is riding footwear, what you're going to use for your riding gear for your boots. Okay? Now, I do not recommend bringing over those big, heavy, clunky boots for like MotoGP or biker boots. They're heavy, they're clunky, they weigh a lot, your feet sweat in them, and they're not good for walking around in. You want something that you can walk around in throughout the day. We're going to be stopping at attractions and seeing things and walking around, so you want something that's going to be comfortable for walking but still offers enough protection for riding. I use these. These are about $45, $50 over here. They're very good. They have a upper that goes above the ankle. You want something with good ankle support, and they have a good tread. You want something with a good tread on the bottom, a non-slip sole, which is really good, especially for oil and grease. Something like that. You never know when you're going to put your foot down in it, so you want something like that. And mine have a nice side zip over here, which makes it easy to take on and off without having to relace them every time. That's really nice. And this one is water resistant. I never say waterproof because nothing is. But this has a nice membrane behind the zip. And I've gone through some pretty heavy rain and everything. My feet have stayed just nice and dry in these. These are good. They're flexible enough and they're good enough and light enough for walking around. I can walk around all day in these, no problem. But they still offer enough protection for riding. So that's something that you want to look for. Hiking boots work really well for this. You can get a good pair of hiking boots. They're great for walking and for riding. Okay, no trainers. Remember, you want that ankle protection. Okay? Next footwear that I recommend are these. These are pool shoes. These are really good for at the end of the day, you're at the hotel, you just peeled off the big riding boots, and you don't want to put them back on to go to dinner, anything like that. So what I recommend are pool shoes. These have a mesh on the top that allows your foot to breathe. It's elastic, so your foot can spread out a little bit, swell out a little bit, get some circulation back in there, get some air to your feet, and it also has a good sole on it, so it's good for walking around. I wear these all the time. I'll wear them to dinner. Even I've actually gone to some fairly nice restaurants in these and nobody noticed. And they're inexpensive. They're also very compact and lightweight, so they don't take up much room in your luggage, but they are a lifesaver at the end of the day. The other thing is flip-flops. You can just bring plain old flip-flops, so these work just as good. They're not as secure as the other ones, but they sure do let your feet breathe at the end of the day. Okay? So bring either of those. That's fine. Next on the list is gloves. What kind of gloves to bring? Well, normally I wear mechanics gloves. I don't wear regular motorcycling riding gloves, although I do at home and in other places. But on a tour, I typically don't really need them. I do need something with protection though. So I go down to the auto parts store or to the hardware store. They have work gloves that are the same. These have a nylon mesh on the outside with some padding over the knuckles, and they have a leather sole on the inside, leather palm, okay, and with some padding in there. These protect your hands just enough if something were to happen, but it is padded here, right where you need it. This is leather, but this is a nice breathable nylon mesh, not really, but well, kind of mesh, and then it does have padding over the knuckles. So these will save your hands. I can attest to it personally. They're inexpensive, so God forbid something were to happen, they have saved my hand, and it tore them all up, but it saved my hands, and I just threw them away when I was done. They were $7, I believe. They were really inexpensive. They work great, and they're wonderful in hot weather. What I really love about them over regular motorcycling gloves is they have much better dexterity, especially for hitting all the controls on the bike, for the turn signals and all the other controls that you have, high beams, etc. They're much easier to control, and your hands don't get cramped up in them as much. I just prefer these over the big riding gloves, and they offer good protection. Not as much, but they offer enough. The next gloves that I bring, this may sound weird, but I bring gloves for paint stripping. For, say, if you're going to remove the paint from an old piece of furniture, something like that. These are chemical resistant gloves. You can get these at the paint store or at a hardware store. I look for ones that are nice, thick rubber. Also ones that are long enough that they come all the way up, halfway up my arm. They're about a third of the way up my arm. Okay? Because I can put that over my rain gear so water doesn't seep in underneath. Also, something that you must have on these is a nitrile palm and fingers. Nitrile will stick to the controls no matter how wet it is. Do not try and use washing up gloves for doing the dishes. Those don't work. If they don't have that nitrile on them, it's like they've been greased and you're trying to handle the controls. These stick to the controls. They work great. I usually buy them 1 or 2 sizes too large so that I can actually put them over my regular riding gloves and then wear both of them. That gives me more padding and it keeps my hands much warmer. I've had these on during a ride over a 12,000 foot mountain pass here in Colorado, and it was snowing and sleet and rain, and it was 2 degrees above freezing. My hands were toasty warm and completely dry. So you want something like that, that's great. But if you do have waterproof gloves already, bring those, bring whatever you're used to. That's fine. Okay? Next on the list is sunglasses. Very important. You're going to want a good pair of sunglasses. I prefer polarized lenses and impact-resistant lenses and something that has a flat arm on the side so it doesn't dig into your head in your helmet while you're riding. And also something that fits very close to the eyes so that it'll keep out most of the wind, so that your eyes don't tear up at high speeds, at interstate speeds. These work great. I think these were $23, $24. They're inexpensive. They work great. I usually carry 2 pairs. I carry one on the bike and a backup pair in my luggage or in the support vehicle. So if I lose or break a pair, I've got another pair with me. The other glasses that I recommend is a pair of safety glasses. You can get these once again at the hardware store, the auto parts store, something like that. They're inexpensive, but they do protect your eyes. These are impact rated. These are safety goggles. Okay, these are to make sure that you don't get rocks or pebbles or sand or grit or raindrops right in the eyeballs. I put these on whenever we go through a rainstorm that is really dark. So if we pull over and we're going to keep going, it's going to be dark, I take my sunglasses off and put these on. It offers an extra layer of protection for my eyes from the raindrops. I've got the visor on the helmet, but if I have that open because it's fogging up, I still have these on. So both of these glasses I highly recommend. And once again, these are inexpensive. These are $3 here, or maybe £1.50, £2 in the UK, a couple of euros. They'll save your eyes. It's a lot cheaper than having to go to an eye doctor. Okay, so good riding glasses, you're going to want those. Next on the list, of course, is a riding jacket. Now, my riding jacket is, of course, heavy leather. It has Kevlar in it as well, and it also has double leather on it. There's Kevlar between the two layers of leather. That's really good. It makes it really heavy. This jacket is incredibly heavy. It also has recesses inside of it, so you can slip in pieces of armor. This one came with the armor. I don't have it in it right now, but I do put it in during the riding season. It has double leather with Kevlar in the places you need it, on the shoulders, the elbows, the back, and all the essential places. It weighs a ton, but it can literally save your skin. So I do recommend a good riding jacket, something nice, something that you don't mind wearing. And once again, something that's comfortable for you. Okay? Also, when it's too hot to wear a jacket, then there are times where I'm not going to wear that. It's just too damn hot. I will go to my waistcoat. I will go to a vest. And I get a nice leather vest for the abrasion resistance and something with a good back on it. It's not going to offer me much protection, but it does offer me back protection. So it's something good. And another bonus about wearing these, especially on a hot day, is that when you sweat, the sweat is not going to evaporate immediately and stop cooling you. This will keep you a little bit of sweat in there, and it will evaporate slower. So it will actually cool you longer to wear this than to just wear a t-shirt. So that's why I recommend something like this. I have a good one. There's a link for it in the description below. Next on the list, of course, is the dreaded rain gear. Yeah, rain gear. Nobody loves wearing it. I know. Me neither. But get yourself a decent set of rain gear. The top on mine, I always get something with a hood. Because the hood you can roll up and stuff around the base of your helmet to prevent rain from coming in the sides or down the back and straight down your back. Woo! So it comes straight down there. No. So you roll the hood up and then stuff that around. I always get something that I was also going to go right up to where my nose is, so I can pull that down and that goes under my chin, once again, to keep the rain from coming off my helmet and going right down into my clothes, okay? So you want something like that. Some decent quality for this, okay? Mine has a zip on the inside, but it also has Velcro closure, which is very important. Little bungee cords in it to tighten it up and pull it nice and tight. And then also one thing that I do say is very important is around the wrist area, you're going to want something that either has Velcro, this has Velcro on it, or an elastic, this one has both, that makes it nice and tight around your wrist, especially if you're not using rain gloves like these, so it's going to keep out the rain as much as possible right at your wrist. Okay, so, but a good set. And for the jacket top, this also doubles for really cold, so you can put this under your riding vest, or your riding gear, your jacket, and it's just another layer of insulation, or you put it over the top. I usually get something a lot larger than what I need, so I can put it over the top of my leather jacket for really cold weather. Cuts the wind, keeps me nice and warm. I've ridden in some really cold temperatures with just my regular leather jacket and this, and it keeps me nice and warm. Okay? Next thing for rain gear is the pants. Okay? Now I recommend a two-piece, not a single-piece rain suit. The problem with a single-piece rain suit is you got to wear the whole thing. Well, sometimes we pull over for a thunderstorm and wait for it to go by because it's just too dangerous, too windy, too heavy rain. But when we get going again, the roads are going to be wet. They're going to be wet, and there's going to be splash coming up and everything. But you'll be fine with just your regular jacket, but you need something for your legs to keep them dry. That's why I have a two-piece. Okay, one piece, I don't recommend. They just don't work. So on this one, you want something with a good elastic waistband, but also has a drawstring or a bungee on it, so you can cinch it up nice and tight. Also, I recommend something to where at the bottom of the legs, it opens up so it's easier to put on and take off with boots on. It makes a huge difference, okay? Huge difference. And then it just zips up, and it has little clasps here to where you can fold it over, clasp it up, nice and waterproof. The other thing that I do caution people about, don't buy that expensive $180, 180-pound set of Harley-Davidson ones. Why? Because if you're not used to riding a Harley, or even if you are, invariably you are going to burn a hole in the right leg. I've got gaffer or duct tape on mine because I've done it. You accidentally brush up against a hot exhaust pipe, it's going to melt a hole in it no matter what. So don't spend a lot of money on the bottoms. If you want to spend more money on the top, great, go for it. But on the bottoms, don't buy an expensive pair. You can usually get a fairly inexpensive pair of top and bottom that'll last you a long time, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So that's my rain gear. So that's what you're going to need, okay? And if there's anything you don't want at the end of the tour, a helmet, your boots, gloves, rain gear, whatever, you can donate them to the support vehicle. We'll be happy to take them and hand them out to people that don't have any on the next tour. And it's a great way to do it. And at the end of the season, anything we have left, we donate to a charity shop so that it helps out the charity as well. We do that all the time. So if you want to leave something behind, you don't have enough room in your luggage, hand it over, we'll take it. We'll give it to someone who needs it in more ways than one, okay? Now, one thing to say about all of this gear, okay, your helmet, your gloves, your boots, your jacket, your rain gear, everything, make sure that it is worn in and comfortable. It's not brand new. It's not going to fit, or it fits you right. That's what you want. It's not going to cause problems. There's nothing worse than buying a brand new helmet. It's the wrong size, and it's either squeezing your head during the day and giving you a headache, or it's moving all over the place, rubbing all the skin off your head, or your boots are so tight because they're new, it's giving you blisters. Your gloves are cutting off the circulation to your fingers. You know what I'm talking about. Make sure any equipment you bring over that you're going to wear for the tour is worn in and comfortable. That's very, very important. Now, I've also put in the description below this video all the links to the riding gear that I kind of use throughout the tour. There's all sorts of stuff that I use. This is just one of the sources. You don't have to use this stuff. Find what works for you, what's comfortable, and then get it, wear it, break it in, make sure it's comfortable before you bring it over for a 1 or 2 week tour, okay? That's not the time or place to figure out that this isn't working, all right? So, that's about it for now. Remember, you got any questions, you got any comments, you got any problems, give us a call. That's why we're here. We'd be happy to help you out. And until next time, remember, keep the rubber on the road and the shiny side up.